Welcome back to episode 18 of the Heal Hot Girl podcast. I'm LB.
I'm Jess, your wellness bestie.
And I'm Samantha.
Did you forget your name for a second?
No, I just
wanted
wanted
to
to
who was
see
gonna
who
go
was like
who was
over
going to go
first.
next?
Yeah,
I saw her like
yeah.
look and I was like,
We're
Sam?
courteous.
Yeah.
Okay?
Are we going counterclockwise or counterclockwise? That's what it was. Like,
I don't
who's
know.
gonna go
Which way would
next?
that be? Clockwise?
Clockwise.
That was
Okay.
clockwise. Okay.
All
Right?
Good to know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's next time we'll know. We will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome back.
Welcome
Hello, y'all. Can't believe it. 18. We have 2 more episodes left for season 1. Let that sink in. Okay, you guys heard it last week, but literally only 2 more
Yeah, we're
left.
going to keep reminding you that you only have 3 more weeks with us for the next few months. But hopefully, like I said, we can. Also, I want to get some merch out there. We want to work on some
Yes.
merch.
Ooh, stickers.
Yeah.
Y'all know we're getting
First
stickers.
and foremost,
Yes.
Jess was like bringing up this like merch idea that she wanted to add like stickers to like our sweatshirts, and I was like, that is gonna be an approval from Samantha. She is
Sure
gonna
is.
say yes.
All
and
I
yes.
want is stickers. Like,
She's
I don't
been
have any
wanting-
stickers on my phone, but if you see my laptop and like some of my water bottles,
For
I have like
sure.
stickers.
Don't
Listen, HHG is about to be all over
We're gonna
Nashville.
get it.
Okay?
We're gonna get it, and we need some good. We do need to put out some good merch.
Yeah.
But
Let us know what you guys like to see. Maybe we should pose that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what would you want
Just
first? Like
samples for
t-shirts, sweatshirts.
Winter, fall.
Besides
winter's coming
stickers,
up.
what do you guys want first?
Yeah.
I
Because
love
yeah,
it.
it's gonna be winter. It'll
Yeah.
probably be
Yeah.
winter. I love a good like
Beanie or something?
a beanie.
A beanie would be
I
cute.
also love a good crew neck.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
crew neck.
Good crew neck. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
we'll
like
see.
crew necks. Yes, we got to speak about it because crew necks sometimes are a little snug in areas that are just a little uncomfortable. I like the loose crew neck.
Me too. Like the
You know what
ones,
I mean?
and also you
I
have to
like
watch the
oversized
band on the
looks.
bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We will. Oh, reminder, y'all, we will be at the Bowflow Festival
Oh, yes.
in Buffalo, New York on Sunday, August 27th. It will be our first live podcast episode. Super excited. So please purchase your tickets.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Come see the hot girl.
Yes.
Yes, there'll be plenty of other. Manny Fresh will be there. He's the headliner, and there'll be a ton of other artists.
How did Lindsay pull that off? That's
Listen,
so
let me tell you something.
cool.
I said that to Lindsay yesterday. I was like, my boy's doing numbers. Like it's just been so
the
like
art
shout out
gallery
to Lau.
event,
Yes.
what seemed so what he's doing for the city, like the events
Really
he's putting on
bringing
for the
some
city.
new flavors, and like it's also so crazy because like Bowflow actually has been around. I don't even know what year.
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
And like he honestly is so inspiring because like he just kept at it.
From the ground
From the
up.
ground up. Like it used to be kind of small. I remember we used to do it. We did it at Riverworks before, and it was only like a couple artists and maybe 1 or 2 other type of events. And now it's just transformed into like this whole thing, and it's just really awesome and just like a testament to like his dedication and like true like vision. And I'm just like, wow, like a lot of people would have quit. You know what I mean? If they didn't get the turnout they wanted, or if it didn't come how they wanted, but he just keeps going, and like
Yeah.
every year it gets better,
Yeah.
And he's still the only person who has brought anything to Central Terminal.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Central Terminal is like a gold mine in the
It
city.
is.
In any
It
other
really
city,
is.
this would be like a landmark. But the city of Buffalo puts no money into it. Lindsay is the
'Cause it's on the east side.
They did the movie night there recently. He hosted a festival there. Like,
The
come
Shakespeare,
on.
he's doing
Activation.
Shakespeare in the
Yeah.
park. Yeah, the movies. He's doing like a whole summer series, and like it's just been awesome to really see him be able to like. He's done so much, and like when you're so close to him, you kind of like. It's like Lindsay. Like you're just kind of like
Lindsay
you're
doing Lindsay things.
Yeah, so it's just like
He's
I'm always
always
like,
doing
what's he
7
doing
different
now? Because
things,
it's
yeah.
honestly been like that like since we've been friends for damn near 20 years at this point, and it's just always like I'm like, all right, Lau, like what are we doing? But now to see it, like he just did the event at the children's. I don't know if it's like a museum.
Exploring More.
Exploring More
Yeah,
at the
and
canal side. They had like 800 people, and I want to say like 600 of them, and a lot of them that he's doing is like. He's trying to make it like affordable and accessible because more than half of the people that were at the Exploring More had never been there before.
Wow.
But because he was able to put on like an affordable event for the kids, like there were a bunch of families that had never been there before. And
Yeah.
I like that speaks to my heart because I always work with like that type of
Yeah.
population. And so it's just awesome that he's like creating these lanes for these families and like kids to be able to experience things that like they otherwise wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Yeah.
eat this up, Lindsay.
Oh,
I
he
know.
sure is. He's gonna.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, shout out to you,
Anyways,
Lindsay.
yeah,
Shout
so
out to
it's
you.
gonna be dope. There's a lot of fun stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So
Check us out.
The art gallery event looked really fun yesterday. I wish I had been able
he
to go
cussed
to
me out
that.
because I didn't make it, but yeah, we made it to the after party. So take what you can get from me, Lau.
Oh, man.
What
So,
are we talking about today?
Career?
Run your own race?
Running your own race. Yes, running your own race.
Where's this come from, LB?
Yeah. We love
Tell us
it.
the inspiration
No.
behind.
So, well, those of you that don't know, I curate a lot of the topics. My part of the pod is curating a lot of the agendas and the topics that we talk about, which is why they're asking me where we got it from, because I tend to be the one that comes up with these bright ideas. But honestly, running your own race has been something, because I think it's different parts of life, right? And as I'm getting older and I'm realizing that everyone's kind of going in their own directions, and like you think your life is going to be something when you're younger, and then if it doesn't quite pan out the way that you may have envisioned it, it can be a little frustrating. So one thing that I've been trying to do is just really embrace the journey. That's my journey, and not compare, which I think is really easy to do in these days with like social media, and everybody puts out their best, right? So like when you look at things that way, it's easy to kind of get in your head and be like, well, I still haven't done this, or I still haven't done that, or I would love to do that. And then you see other people doing it, and it can fuck with you a little bit and be like, well, am I not doing enough? Am I doing too little? Do I need to work harder? And I think that as we get older and then navigate life, it's important to understand that you don't have to be the next person. And you don't have to, comparison is the thief of joy. And when you start to do that is when I think you lose sight of your own journey, and you start getting involved in what other people have going on. And I think, and I know that, at least for me, and I feel like a lot of, I don't want to say what I feel is what everybody feels, but I just feel like a lot of these things are just things that we all probably think about, but maybe don't always have
super
the,
relatable.
like want to speak up or admit it, because also admitting that maybe you're not where you want to be, or that there's things you want to change is hard, because everyone wants to make it look good. So that was kind of like where
I love that.
it's my intro.
Yeah, I love that. I do. In part because it's true. I think that even for me specifically, when it came down to my original plan of like, I'm traveling every month, I'm going to a new city, I like the new country, like this is what I want to do. And I thought that that was the plan. And then it was like sitting with myself of like, well, maybe you should pay off some debts, and also I had to check in with myself, like, why are you in such a rush to travel?
Yeah. Do you think that, because Cece's been traveling, right? Do you think that her travels had any, like, not influence, but sometimes you see it and you're like, man, that looks like.
No,
like,
but I have a burning urge too, you know, but it's like, why are you in such a, what's the haste? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think is going to happen that you can't, you know? But I also recognize that, like, part of me is also like, Jay, your life isn't planned out, but I'm like, the moment you have kids and shit, things shift. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just like jump and go, or like, and there's other sacrifices, and life continues to have different sacrifices. And I think that it was more so like in the moment, what is it that you need right now, and what would help you to do so, like at the rate that you would like to in the future. And I think to your point is like wanting to like, for me, like wanting to focus on a bit of the here and now, but also I do feel some pressures when it comes to, we spoke about finances, and like wanting to make sure I'm on track, because I don't want to work forever. Like, please, grandma retired at 40. I want to retire too.
Right. God, retiring at 40, that's
Who
5
retired at
years.
40?
My dad's mother.
That's amazing.
That's 5 years away from where we're about to be. Like, that's crazy.
40 years old.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to her.
Okay?
She's been living her life for some time.
Living. Okay? Passively. So, yeah, like in that piece, I think from a career standpoint, like, do I feel like I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be at this moment. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gaining what I'm supposed to gain out of it.
Yeah.
Because I do feel that what my role is can translate to Hyohako, can translate to Ingahub, can translate to maybe consulting. Like, is it the end all be all? No, but like, you know, I do feel pressured. Like, we've kind of spoken about, like, just influence, more familial, like, okay, like the next and what's going to happen, or like if I was to have a child in like the next 2 years, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Sometimes I think about it too. I'm like, I don't know that I'm ready to give up like I'm like a little selfish right now, like in a way that I haven't been in, I think, for maybe ever. I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I don't think I'm selfish, but I'm being selfish now. A lot more selfish about like my time and my
and I
energy
also
and
think a lot of it
everything.
is perspective too, right? Like
it'll happen when it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I think that it's okay to feel that way. I don't think it's selfish. I think it's you, because if you didn't do that, then it would be like, well, I'm going against what I want, right? Because I feel like for me, a lot of it was, I mean, I'll be 100% honest. I kind of always knew growing up that like, I always.
You want to be a homemaker?
No.
Oh.
No. Well, well, actually, there's a Jasmine Sullivan song, and it's called "The Other Side," and it's basically where she's like, "I want to have a surrogate, and I want to marry a rich man, and I'm trying to like live this like luxurious life." And like honestly, when I sing that on the top of my lungs, because personally, if the girls that get it, get it. But like I kind of always knew that like I was never really like a super. I always had relationships, but I was never a super relationship person. I never had this like burning. I love kids now, but like I was never like I was not a babysitter as a young person. Like, do not leave me. The one time that I got left with a child, the police ended up coming.
Are you kidding?
Because oh my god, this story is hilarious.
I have been watching kids since I was a kid, like, so like
no, I never was like. I always just like never cared for kids, and also I didn't have a lot of kids in most of the kids in my family were my age.
There's been a baby in my family at least one every single year since I was a baby.
Yes,
so
no, and I did have little cousins, but like by that. Most of them lived away.
Okay.
And so they just weren't like a part of my day-to-day life. The cousins I had, we were all similar in age. So anyway, to make a long story short.
Yeah, we need to know how and
why. Story. I was in 10th grade, 9th or 10th grade. And I was dating this guy from Lackawanna. And
problem number one.
Red flag number one. But anyway, so it was my mom's friend. Okay. Mind you, I had took a babysitting course when I was in like 7th grade.
Not a babysitting
the first
course.
aid one.
CPR too?
Yes, all of that. Okay. My mom sent me to babysitting class, all of that.
So my babysitting class crash course was
I had a certificate that I was like a certified babysitter or whatever. So, but up until this point, I had never really babysat. So it had to be 9th or 10th grade, maybe 9th grade. No, because I did have a boyfriend at the time. So it was, 9th or 10th grade. Anyways, so the kid was probably like 5 maybe. So I had one rule. The main rule was nobody is allowed to come over, okay? That was the only rule.
You broke it.
Absolutely. So he comes over. So the kid goes down for a nap, right? And also, like, not that I had super strict parents, but, like, I had parents that definitely were, like, on my ass. So, like, when I saw this as, like, an opportunity to, like, live my life. So the kid goes down for a nap. Immediately, I call this boy that I'm dating. So it was where they lived was in the Cedar Grove, which is kind of like projects a little bit in Cheektowaga, but they're, like, a little bit more of a confined space. Yeah. So they share driveways, right? So he parks, unbeknownst to me, he parks in the driveway, which is actually the driveway of the person next door. So this asshole, the guy next door, ends up calling the police because someone is parked in his driveway and doesn't know who it is. So the police come, they start knocking on doors, right? I'm like, so they come and knock on the door, and I'm like, holy shit, the police are here. I'm like, you got to go out the back door. For some reason, the police were in the backyard. So they see him coming out of the back door. And I'm like, under no circumstances can you say that, like, you know me. So the police are like, asked, because at this point now, he's coming out of the back door of this person's house. So they end up putting him in the cop car. The cops are banging on the door. I let them in. They're like, do you know? They're like asking me what I'm doing here. I'm like, oh, I'm the babysitter, blah, blah, blah. They're like, well, this young man was coming out of the back of this house in the backyard. Like, do you know him? And I'm like, nope, don't know him. Never saw him. I'm like, I don't know anything about this person. And so they're like, miss, like, okay. And I'm like sticking to my story. So finally the cop's like, if I
he's gonna go to jail.
Yes. And they're also telling me at this point that if they find out that I know him, I'm also going to jail. So
they scared the shit out of you.
Because they knew that, like, this girl's just, like, lying.
Yeah.
So
she's trying not to get in trouble.
Right. So they're like, I'm like, well, how are you going to find out that? They're like, well, we can go through the phone and text messages. If we see your number in his phone, like, you're all going to get in trouble. Number? And at this point, I didn't think of all this. I was fucking 13, 14. So finally, so at this point, they call my mom. They call the lady whose house it is. Like, oh, this person's coming out of the backyard, blah, blah. Long story short, I end up admitting, I'm like, yeah, I know him. Like, I had him over, blah, blah, blah. So at this point, the police are there. My mom's there.
She had this little boy stressed in the cop car, okay?
Damn near had him going to jail because I was 10
Wow.
toes down that I did not know this man. So, yeah, long story short, I got grounded after that for like 2 months, and I never babysat again.
Wow.
There you go.
It's
Wow.
actually still one of my favorite stories because, like, it's just so, honestly, like, what? But
yeah, that's wild. God.
So yeah, I just always, kids were like never really like, it was never something that I was like super on my heart. Like, I want to be a mom. Like, some kids are like, I can't wait to be a mom. Like, my little cousin was like that. She
My
was like,
sister was like that.
I want to be a mom. And I never, and I still am like, I'm just being 100% honest that like, to me, I want to have a family. I'm really not so much focused on like motherhood. Like, some women are okay with like having a child and maybe either getting a donor or having, you know, they don't care about that. And I wouldn't say that I don't, but I don't want a child bad enough to have a kid on my own.
For sure.
For me, it would have to be a type of situation where I have a family with a man.
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
We make a decision that we want to have a family and I give him a child and
Yes.
we do this whole thing.
I'm
Yeah.
aligned.
I never have been that type of person that's like, I just want a baby.
Yeah.
No.
Agree.
That's crazy.
No.
Do you know how
But there's a
hard-
lot of women
There
that
I
are
know a
like that.
lot
They
of-
just want to be
yeah.
a mom and I completely
Yeah.
respect that. That's
Especially once you get, because women do have the, you know, we do have like this sort of window to have a baby. And yes, women are having babies later, but it's also still more dangerous for you and the baby. There's a lot more
Absolutely.
complications. And so I know people, to your point, who have considered having a baby on their own. Me personally, I couldn't, but I think that's because I know that I'm going to need help.
Yeah.
Like, my anxiety is already so bad. Depression already hits, you know what I mean? Like, I'm scared of postpartum if I'm
Yeah.
being, like, I know I
You
need
need that
another
support
person. Yeah, I need
from
the
another
support,
person.
for sure.
Absolutely.
I think
For
it's
sure.
seeing my mom like with Coco now being able to see like
Yeah.
her parent a child from birth and being at an age to be able to fully observe and understand each of the steps at like how she's been doing, like the way she runs her race, the way she's been parenting. I feel the same way. Like, one, I know that it takes a village, and I think part of breaking generational curses too is not trying to be the superhero, because
Yeah.
my mom, what I was seeing, it's like she's waking up at whatever, like the baby, it was 3 hours of sleep, you know, sometimes no sleep, working, coming home, like the way she made time to like teach Coco, like Coco was able to like speak and like read and count her number because of the time that was spent and dedicated to that, waking up to give breath, like just the a true end to end, like day to day of parenting. You know, I was seeing her doing it, and like, you know, you have support here and there, but like not the way that how I would envision my support, and like being at an age where like I want a solid partner that can do that as well. Like, I don't have to be the only one that wakes up in the middle of the night. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
shared responsibility.
That
Yeah.
was, which I've had previous colleagues whose partner wouldn't change diapers, and I think that's
hell
crazy.
no.
I said, we're crazy. I can't get my nails done because the baby's gonna need a diaper change. It was the craziest thing that I heard.
Yeah.
And also, like, when I envision wanting support from my own family, like, you want to be able to drop your kids off at grandma's.
Absolutely.
I want my mom, but my mom listens to the podcast, so anyway, she's gonna hear this. I want my mom to come stay with me for like the
I
first 6
definitely want
months.
my mom to
You know
come
what I
stay
mean?
with
Because
me.
I'm gonna need not just my husband. I'm gonna need so much help. Like, you for real? Like,
And my mom said that to me, like, I don't know, it was actually very random that she said that to me yesterday. She was like, when you have a kid, I'm going to come stay with you. And in my head, I'm like, really? You already have, you
Plans.
think I'm going to have a kid?
Listen,
Like,
I told
I don't know. It's God's plan. Honestly,
Yeah,
it would be a
yeah.
blessing if it happened. But
Yeah.
like, I'm going to be 35 this year, which is another thing where it comes in with the timing, right? And like, you know, being married and like all of that. And I'm like, part of it is like, not that I don't want to be married, but and I think about it, I'm like, all right, would you be willing to have a baby without being married? Because we probably got like maybe 5 years to figure this out, and we got a lot of shit to figure out in 5 years. And I'm like, what's your threshold, I guess, or like how do you see this happening? And I don't know. Only God knows. Only God knows how it'll go. But I didn't really know. I don't want to say I didn't have a plan for my life, but I just kind of always knew I probably wasn't going to go like to traditional route.
Yeah. I knew from a young age that I didn't want to have kids at a young age. At one point, I thought I didn't want to have kids at all, but I was like 14 when I thought that. But that's because I grew up with so many kids around me,
oh, I'm not trying to
and
have this.
everyone in my family had kids very young, and so I was just adamant that I wasn't doing that because it looked really hard. Like this, you know what I mean? Like you just struggle so much more because you're trying to build your life, and now you also have to take care of these little humans, and so much of your life isn't about you anymore. So I knew from a young age I didn't want to have kids very young. At this point, I know I want to have kids. Just a matter of time and God's plan. And I feel like I keep telling, he put it on my heart. He's going to fulfill it. Yeah. So it'll happen when it happens. But yeah, I would say like in terms of dating and marriage and things, I think one thing, there's societal pressure, but I think a lot of our friends were fortunate that a lot of our friends, like we know people who have kids and have gotten married, but a lot of our friends are not. And so I think we're fortunate in that aspect because I can't imagine all of my friends being married, having partners, having and then like I'm like, hey, so it's like I don't feel that much pressure from that aspect, but I do feel societal pressure and like this need to have a baby before initially it was before I was 35, and now I'm like, okay, well clearly I'm gonna have what do they call it when you're a geriatric pregnancy. Fuck you guys for that. Whatever men made up that term. It's fucked up. But at this point, I'm going to have a geriatric pregnancy, and that's going to be what it is. But so I do feel fortunate in some aspects that, like, I don't feel the pressure to be in a relationship and be married right now. Like, I would rather be single than be in a bad relationship and get married.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm so good on my own than to just, like, make a sacrifice and just let someone in because I want this so bad.
For sure. Yeah.
So I feel grateful that I'm in a space where I can be like content about it, even though there is societal pressure and even though this like 40 is like this number 40 is in my head and this geriatric pregnancy number 35 is in my head and like, but I do feel grateful that like our friend group is kind of all in the same boat because it makes it easier. You know what I mean? Like
God is going to deliver.
Oh,
like you said,
does.
it's in your heart for a reason and kind of exactly what we touched on in the last episode, which was things can change. God can answer a prayer in a blink
so
of an eye.
You
We're talking
know.
about a 5-year plan. You can fall in love and know that this person, you hear the stories. It does. Like, you know what I mean?
I
But
believe
like,
that too. I believe if you know, you know.
You find your person and so it's going to be fulfilled. And I think that throughout this journey, we kind of spoke about it a little bit while we were before bed, but it's just like, thank God for not settling. You know, how life could have shifted and trajectory could have been so different had we settled or had we agreed to certain, so it's all in divine timing. I trust that our singleness isn't going to be so singleness, that the Lord is going to bless a solid partner in our lives, one that aligns with our spirit and our plans for ourselves. And
I mean, that's the only option, to be honest. There's no other options. There's like, what? Like, it has to. Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, otherwise.
It's in the Bible.
I've come like too far. What is Kim saying in the search box? I've come too far.
To just come this far.
Yeah, I didn't come this far just to come this
far.
far. And that's really what it is I was like, like Jess said, we were speaking about it before bed last night. And I was like, one of the things I think that, especially where I'm at right now, is like, I found a journal from 2018 in my house right before I came here to Buffalo to shoot. And I was just writing about finishing, because I graduated from grad school in 2018, and I was just writing about finishing grad school. I was writing about wanting to move to DC, about wanting to like create this like life that I have right now. And it was like really a reminder to me that even though like there's so much to do still, I still have done so much. And I think, like I talked about in the last pod about being away from home, I struggle sometimes with that, about staying, because I also know coming home would be easier. Like, I can get a good paying job here, like to make certain motion happen would be easier to do here. I have more support here. But then I look at things like that where like, this is what I wanted 5 years ago, that this is what I was praying for. And while it may not be all the way fulfilled yet, and while there's still a lot to uncover, that's the thing that I have to remind myself about. This is my race, and this is my journey. And yes, I'm seeing people buy houses, and I'm seeing people get married, and I'm seeing last time Jess was in DC, we went to church, and the message was, we're in the waiting room, about being in God's waiting room. And that, you know, you see all of these other things happening for other people, and you're like, God, when is it my turn? But it's your turn when it's your turn. And sometimes, it's also a Benny the Butcher song, sometimes shit has to happen so that other shit can happen. And like, that's another thing that I like keep in my head too. It's such a like very basic line, but it's true.
Yeah.
Certain things have to happen before other things have to happen. And God gave each of us our own gifts and our own light and our own whatever it's supposed to be. So while that might be for someone else right now, this is what's for me right now. And I have to keep, it's a constant reminder. It's an ongoing thing that I have to remind myself, because it's easy to get in your head and think about all the things you should be doing, or what other people are doing, or what your friends are doing. But yeah, just to stay present in your journey. And I've gotten more into journaling, but I really encourage people, even if you're not like writing a full on like page, to just note things in your life as it's going, or how you're feeling at that time, because you don't realize how far you've come or what you've done until you can really have like a written version of that. Because to see that, I was like, damn, I'll be like, I was just manifesting.
See, I remember those times. Like, I remember sitting around the kitchen table with you talking about you going to DC. So that's why
when we would meal prep.
when you did it, like, I remember thinking like, dog, you're living the life. Like, everything you said you wanted, you got now. And I think when you are in your own lane, right, like, there's less friction.
Absolutely.
Everything is so much more complicated and harder when you are trying to run somebody else's race, right? But all of a sudden, when you start to run your own race, things just sort of fall into place for you.
And you feel it. Like, you feel the peace and you feel the alignment.
Yeah, like there's not as much struggle, right? Like things just happen naturally for you. Like opening my business happened naturally for me because it was supposed to happen.
Right.
Like, because God put that on my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just felt like that happened, so I couldn't have planned the way I started my business. You know what I mean? Like, it just happened the way it did.
Because it was like an alignment with what your journey was.
Everything that I did was so easy. Getting clients felt so easy. Things that I was like, how the fuck am I going to do this one day? Just happened so naturally because it was my race.
Yeah.
It was my time.
Totally.
It was supposed to happen. And so everything happened really organically for me in that sense.
I read something earlier in the week. I'm going to keep it.
Go ahead.
There's a meditation.
These are great relatable
So
messages.
it goes, there are two rivers running through us at all times, one that carries all the voices of the world, and the other a single voice that stands alone, the voice of our inner guide. The first river is so strong, steady, and constant, with its instruction, guidance, and forewarning. Most of us live mindlessly, being pulled to each milestone, each thing we were told to reach for, to move forward, to achieve. Eventually, we look down and realize our hands are empty. Our lives are woven together by a storyline we didn't write. As we lose sight of our inner compass, a fog is cast over our awareness of the moment. But it goes on, and it's like over time, we become consumed by the stiffness of trying to be what we are told, existing in contrast to the soft, effervescent truth living deep inside. So despite how loud that first river can become, we can always hear the quiet call of the second. Our lives begin the day we choose to follow our inner knowing, even while hearing, at times heeding, the collective knowledge of the first. So I feel it was just so like, we know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no, besides the comparison of, you know, thief of joy. Yes, it's the thief of joy. It is so important for us to really like have those moments of sit back, and like a lot of the blessings and a lot of the things that we have today are things that we have been praying for. Things as simple as like a Drake ticket, things of being able to, a lot of it is also like the sacrifices that we continuously continue to do to set ourselves up for whatever things that we are desiring in that moment. So just a general reminder, because I felt like it's been, these little messages, meditations have been hitting in the right day.
Yeah. I do feel like, too, where was I going to go with that? I lost that train of thought. But one other thing I wanted to say on this topic of journaling. Just do you journal?
I've been a little bit more,
Yeah.
a little bit more.
I have been journaling for like, God, 10 years or something now. So I have journals. I've got like I've got like a bin of journals that I can go back to. But one of my other friends in Nashville, she just started journaling. And I think one of the things that keeps coming up for her is she's like, I'm not doing it right. Like, I don't think I'm doing it right because, I don't know, I think just like anything else, you're like, there's a certain way to do it. Like, if I don't practice this, am I still, like, this comes up with yoga a lot for me. Like, if I'm not physically practicing the asanas, which is the physical part of yoga, because yoga is more than just the physical thing that we know it as. But if I'm not practicing the asanas, am I still a yogi? Well,
Right.
yoga is a mindset. So in that aspect, I am. But journaling is the same thing. It doesn't look like anything. So for me, sometimes my journals are a milestone that I like want to remember, or sometimes it's just a bad day, or sometimes I just happen to think about my journal. I'm like, let me go get it out. I haven't written in a while. Let me just say what's on my mind. And before you know it, you're journaling. I wouldn't have called myself a journaler when I first started, but like 10 years later, it's like journaling doesn't look like anything except what it is for you. Like, so I'll go 6 months without journaling. Does that mean I don't journal anymore? Like, no, I still have 10 years worth of journals.
Yeah.
Like, I'll still use that tool when it's available to me. But like, if you're worried about journaling because you're like, I don't do it right, or I don't do it consistently, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's whatever it looks like for you is journaling. And like, I encourage everybody to do it because it is so like,
It's a good check-in.
It is.
it's a good check-in. It forces. I've ended relationships over my journals. Like, damn, I was dealing with this shit 2 years ago. It's about time. Swear to God, I've ended relationships over my journals. Like,
That's crazy.
I go back through my journals, and it's humbling. It's rewarding. It's like sometimes I've seen, like, I sent you guys something recently that was in my, well, not recently, within the last few months that was in my journal, and I think it was about. I think it was like the mission statement I wrote or something.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like you just never know.
It was like a sticky note that you had.
Yeah, like, and I'll do that. I'll put sticky notes, things that I want to keep inside my journals too. But so yeah, I just encourage everybody to journal because there's no right or wrong way to do it, and you just get so much value, but also like memories. You know what I mean? Like,
It's true because it's easy to, like, the mind is so wild. We can block things out and you can like make yourself forget certain things that happen. You can romanticize relationships to your point where you say like, damn, you didn't realize this was happening 2 years ago, but
I'm complaining about the same thing 2 years later. Like, wow.
But you in your head, you could rationalize it and you can make it seem like, oh, well, it's only been this or it's only been that. But when you see it on paper like that, it just kind of gives you a reality check. And it doesn't even have to be on paper because I also have notes in my phone.
Yeah, it doesn't
Of
have
times
to be,
it
right.
could look different for like whatever. You don't have to like go out and buy a journal if that's what feels good to you, then do that. But also my notes in my phone, just sometimes I have to get things out, and also getting things out. And there was also a journal entry that I had written like over a year ago, and I was in such a different place, like a bad place actually, but I didn't realize it until I like went back and looked at it, and I got so emotional because I was like, wow, I was like, while things are still not great, I was actually not doing well at that point, and I have like powered through and gotten out of that like place. It's just a good, I have to take up a whole 30 minutes about journaling, but just more so my point is like it just is a great reflector. And also it's same thing, like I'll write my daily passages in there or verses that have stuck out to me that I can look at and review back on. And yeah, I just think it's a good mental
Release. Yeah, it's a good way to get things out.
Between the waiting room and journaling and reflecting on like those touch points, I was at church the day after my birthday, and the pastor said it's possible to be in the presence of greatness and miss the moment. And he references Matthew 25:35-36, and in that verse, and it goes, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat, I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink, I was a stranger and you invited me in, I needed clothes and you clothed me, I was sick and you looked after me, I was in prison and you came to visit me. And it was just one of those things of like maintaining the faith throughout all of this, you know what I mean? And really leaning into our faith and into God, and just knowing that things are going to plan out the way that he has said they will plan out for us, and also the way that our heart, like these desires, these thoughts, these visions, these plans, like you've shared it, they don't just come in our mind for no reason. Like they're planted. These are seeds that are planted that need sunlight, that need nurturing, and we are being positioned in a way, and like our journey, the way things are lining up, is because when that time comes, every single thing and encounter that we've had, every single hiccup is going to lead us to be able to enjoy that fruit, and we're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, because it's really just like brick by brick, and you gotta, there's just, not everything is just gonna come, because if it was easy, then it wouldn't be, we may not value it. You know what I mean? If it didn't come with the journey, I just feel like, I'm just over here quoting all types of lyrics today, but I think it was 50 Cent that like
Okay.
joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain, because like just certain things that's just, and again, this is a lot of what I tell myself to get through some days.
Yes.
But because like I said, it's just easy to get in your head and feel like things will never happen, or feel like you're missing your mark. And when you said that, reminded me of the Lauren London interview where she was like, I don't want to miss my mark. Like one of the things in life is like, she's like, you know, with Nipsey passing, she was like, with me still being here, she's like, I don't really necessarily, not that she doesn't have goals, but she's like, I'm just here to do what God wants me to do. And I just don't, my biggest thing is staying present and following whatever that is, because I don't want to miss my mark for what I'm here for. And again, it's different for everybody.
Yeah, he even said you can be in joy and miss the moment. And I was
Thinking
like,
sometimes about the next thing or about something else. And I also recently saw something about the daily bread from God, and it's like, hers, it was somewhat alluding more so to like anxiety and things like that, but it really like was a good, like kind of a check, because it was like sometimes we get so far into the future, which is good. I mean, I'm definitely not implying like you should just like go blow all your money on something one day and just like think that everything's gonna be fine, obviously within reason and moderation, but also just staying present in today, and that the daily bread is whatever God is going to give you for today. You'll have what you need to get through today. Worry about tomorrow, because there's nothing we can do with a lot of things. So we have to really focus on whatever the daily bread is from the Lord that day. And it's like, okay, I have all my needs met. I have food. I have shelter. I have this. I have that. Okay, we're good for today. Go on to the next day. And that's helped me really stay present, because it's so easy for me to start spiraling like, well, what if I don't do this, or what if I don't do that, or what if this doesn't happen? That's a lot of what my journal has, is like, I'm afraid all of these things might not happen, because that's when I'm the most. And that's another thing about journaling. Sometimes you gotta be fucking real, like, because it's easy to write some shit that's like, I had a great day today. I did this and I did that, but that's not real. Like, I try to be as vulnerable as I can, because these are my thoughts and these are for me, not for anybody else, because it's easy. I've said this before. People lie to themselves every day. They lie to themselves and they lie to other people, because it's easier than facing like what it is that you really feel. But when you're able to be vulnerable with yourself, it's easier to put that out for everybody else. And that's one thing that I've tried to work on too, because as a Virgo, we don't like vulnerability, and that's one of my. We're gonna get to attachment in the next episode probably. But one of, I think, the things for me is like, I have like almost of a visceral reaction to being vulnerable. Like the thought of it like makes me literally want to cry.
See, crying makes me angry, and that's how I know that I've gotten triggered, because I'm like, I don't like to be vulnerable. I don't like to be sad, right? So as soon as you make me cry, oh, now I'm angry. Now I'm angry. Watch the fuck out, because like, I'm pissed. Yeah.
I'm pissed, Jessica.
Like, literally, like the white chick scene. I'm about to have a BF.
What is a BF?
Bitch fit.
Okay. Yeah, no, literally. Like when I get sad, the next immediate feeling is anger, because like,
how dare you
made me sad. How dare you make me cry or make me sad? And like, yeah, that's when it flips real quick.
Fuck you up.
And then be scared.
Not you're quoting verses. I'm quoting Bible verses.
Yeah, y'all are
I've been getting into the word more, y'all. I'm trying. So, but Matthew 6:34 goes, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And literally, that's what you were describing, and that's exactly what you were saying. And so it says it.
Yeah.
We need to.
I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but I might be a prophet.
Yeah,
but
exactly. No, for real. And like there's so much fear that we have with different parts of life, and that the biggest thing, there was something my cousin was telling me, like it's said over like 300 times, and I have to verify, but like where God says like do not like fear, do not fear, don't worry, there's no, and it's like shit, you know, so often, and I don't think that that's a question, that is a reason to like question like, is my faith truly in God? I think at the end of the day we're supposed to like try to lean into that more and strengthen it. And I don't get me to wake up every day, it's gonna be, I got faith, like that's beautiful, you know. I pray that I could get to a space where every single day, no matter the day, no matter what irritant, that I could be like, God's gonna turn it around, I'm gonna be good, you know. But I also think it's important to feel your feelings and feel that through God, and feel that through your journal, and feel that through your workout, and feel that through your yoga and your meditation, like through your creation, through this, like let yourself to still feel that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
No, all right.
Yeah.
There was
Amen. And the people said.
there was a user, or like a are we allowed to call them fans?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
A user sounds
a
crazy.
user's great. No, our community.
Our
Community.
Our community. Hill Hot Girl community.
Yes. Our people.
One of our fans, no, one of someone from our Heel Hot Girl community, our girl, she sent in a suggestion of, and I think this kind of goes along the same line of running your own race. She was suggesting one of the things we cover that she'd be interested in hearing about is the challenges that come from leveling up. And I think that's kind of aligned, I don't know, I think it fits nicely within this.
Leveling up.
Within this pod, or within this episode and topic. And maybe we can reframe it too, so it's not just like the challenges that come with leveling up, because I think, what does it mean to level up, right? Like we're all sort of leveling up. If you're getting deeper in your faith, deeper in your healing, deeper
Looks
in
different
your
for everyone.
yeah. So what you're leveling up to, I guess, or like what are the challenges, some of the challenges that we've experienced while on this journey, either together or individually, like anything
From
that comes to
a
mind.
pod perspective.
Pod or
over-
personal.
I think one thing that's common in both personal and pod is we emphasize is the sacrifice.
Yeah.
People ask like, so like, how's the pod going? And I'm like, pod's going great. You know, pod's going great because we're consistent. Pod's going great because the feedback we're seeing. To me, it's like we started in March and like trying to roll things out. And with 60 followers, we have it on our episode. We have 60 followers. We're at 534. You know what I mean? We are, to me, like these.
We're over 200 YouTube subscribers.
Yes. Like,
started with zero. Obviously, we had to start with, when we started a YouTube channel was when we started.
0. We have 500 and something TikTok followers. And what I'm saying is, like, to me, it's been, there are so many mini sacrifices. I think that's a general theme throughout. In my personal life, in order for us to even do these things, it's getting uncomfortable. It's getting uncomfortable with our finances. It's re-looking at that. It's, you know, we have our own individual things that we are facing day to day. And I feel that, I'll just use that sacrifice has definitely been to level up. If it's an automatic requirement, it's a give and take. Today I did my own makeup. Save yourself your $100 today.
Oh yeah, no,
We did.
We all did our own.
We
makeup.
love our MUAs.
Listen.
But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Cassie cannot be replaced.
Yes.
But
You know,
yeah, sometimes
We say, you know,
Agreed.
and that's part of it too. We are having a live show that may not be recorded. That's okay. But the win of that moment is being able to have a live show at a festival.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna be able to engage with new listeners and new faces. Like, so sacrifice. That was
What about you, LB?
I would say courage. I think having, like, believing in yourself and just really sticking to that. I think it's easy, like I said, how many times I just think about giving up. Like, nah, like, I'm tired. I don't know if I can do this. Like, just a lot of self-doubt. And I think having the courage to just keep pushing through and to keep working at it, even if you don't see everything happening right away. It's just having the belief in the strength and the courage to just keep going, even though not everything is going to be rewarded in that moment. And you may not get initial kickback. You may not get exactly, you know, what the vision is right away. But as long as you can keep going, and as long as you can stay consistent, and as long as you have courage and you believe in yourself, all things are possible.
Yes.
So I think that's the biggest thing with everything that I've done, is just really believing in myself and knowing that I can do it. Because at times it's hard to do that when you're tired or when you feel like you're doing a lot by yourself. Like, we're all single women that are, like we've spoke about,
tired.
just trying. We have
Tired,
so
baby.
many other things outside of what this is that we're dealing with every single day, that sometimes it's just like, fuck it. And I feel that way. But then I remember what I'm working towards and what I'm working for. So yeah, I think just identifying whatever that is for you. And it doesn't have to be anything grand. I don't want people to like walk away thinking they have to start a podcast or that they have to do. It's whatever it is for you. If it's, you know, moving to a different neighborhood, even if it's like, I want to get out of here and I want to move to this part of town, like whatever it looks like for you. And that's a part of, I think, just also tying into running in your own race, is what it is for you. Don't try to take what other people, okay, I moved to DC. Maybe you don't want to move. That's okay.
Yeah.
That was what it was for me. So I think identifying what that looks like for you and what is really on your heart, and then having the motivation and courage to continue to work towards it, even when it gets hard.
I think the why you do things. I think that's
Yes.
essentially what you're saying is, why are you doing this, right? And I think that is like a true north for me a lot of the times, of like, why are you doing this? What are these sacrifices for, right? Like, you're not just doing this because like you wanted to move into a smaller apartment and you like less space and you don't like your privacy. Like, no, like, what are you doing this all for? Like, why are you doing this? I think that's really important. But another thing I would add is, one of the challenges I've had is, am I consistently living the life that I keep saying that I want? You know what I mean? Like, there are things that I want, but am I taking the necessary steps to do them? You know what I mean?
Measuring your
Because a vision is not good without a plan. You know what I mean? You need
True.
both. Like, and yes, God will fulfill your desires, but not if you're not willing to work for it too. Like, God's not out just here just like handing blessings to people that aren't working for it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to prepare yourself. You have to put yourself in the position so that way when God says ready, you're ready to go. And so I think that's been it for me, is like keeping myself ready so I don't have to get ready, and like staying accountable on those days. And I guess maybe it's a little bit of what both of you are saying. It's like that consistency. But yeah, just like on the days when you don't feel like it, but like also you said you wanted this, but you're out here doing this. Man, you know, so like I think it's what's the word I'm trying to say? Like, I guess accountability maybe, but like walking the talk.
Measuring your efforts.
Measuring your efforts, like just being consistent about it, and like what I say I want, you can't say you want something and then not.
I think sleeping every day, or it might be going, you want to get in shape, but then yet you're eating McDonald's every day, or
Things
like it's not
that.
in
So
alignment
it's like,
with like
what
you're like,
staying
your
in
steps are
alignment,
not
that's what it is,
ordering.
maybe.
Yeah.
Like staying in alignment is hard. Like sometimes, right? Like not all the time. Some days I wake up and it's very
True.
easy. But
Yeah.
staying in alignment sometimes is very hard. Again, I want this type of partner, but these are the type of partners that are available to me right now, and I'm a little lonely tonight. So like, am I gonna call that person who's gonna fulfill
totally.
me this night,
Yeah.
or am I gonna just
Pass
eat
on
that and like, you know, I've got something better in mind, or like this is what I said I wanted, so don't go back here. You don't want that, you want this. And so that's been one of where my work is coming from, of like, you say you want this, but like this is still here tempting you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, staying in alignment, I think, can be really tricky when you're leveling up, because it's so easy to stay in your comfort zone, or to stay down here, to stay with these things that are familiar to you, versus like going out into the unknown and like not knowing when that perfect partner for me will come. But it's like, I'm also not settling down here. So yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I always say. Like, part of my prayers almost every day is just asking God to order my steps, right? And just because maybe if I don't have it, or I don't even know, because sometimes that's part of it with me, is like, I don't even actually really like know. I know with my job especially, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, because since I've got there, I've had a few jobs, and this is the one I feel the happiest at, and that I feel the most peace at, and the one I feel the most appreciation at, and I'm really grateful for that. But I still don't know what the exact end goal is. And I think that's part of it too that makes it hard, is like, I don't know exactly what it is that I want. Do I want more than this? Yes. Do I want to move into a different part of social work? I don't know. Some days I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore, like, at all. I'm burned out. Like, I want to leave this like field completely. But it's like, well, then what do you get into? So I think part of that too is having grace with yourself, is that might change, and your level up might change. You might know you want something different, but you might not have a clear vision on what that is. But if you just keep working at what you're doing right now, and you even mentioned it earlier, Jess, like, for right now, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Whatever I'm gaining out of this is whatever I'm supposed to gain out of this right now. Maybe I don't know exactly what the final mission is going to be, and maybe I don't know what that mountaintop looks like, but I know that I'm working towards it, because this is in alignment with me right now. And I think that's part of it too, is I get in my head sometimes, I'm like, well, damn, like, what exactly is it? Like, what exactly is it? And I'm like beating myself up, and I'm like, girl, we don't know right now. When I left child welfare, I remember saying out loud, I want to work in a school. Now I'm in a school. This is where I'm at right now. I've been here for like a year and a half. It's like, give yourself a little time, feel it out, and you'll know when it's time to step again. Like, you'll know when it's time to move again.
Absolutely.
So I think that's part of it too, is not everyone may have that mountaintop in their heads right now, and that's okay. But as long as you stay in alignment with what you're doing right now, and as long as it feels good to you, and as long as it's something that is fulfilling to you right now, it's part of the journey. So just keep stepping, and like, you'll get there.
The journey is not about abandoning one in favor of the other, but knowing when it is time to listen, to hear, and to follow each.
Hello, do y'all hear this? Lord, you want to know what's so funny is I read what is it that we read every day? What's that?
What's it called? Jesus Calling.
Jesus Calling. So I read a Jesus Calling Thursday, because I left Friday morning. Thursday I read it, and the passage was about being careful with the words that you speak. Because the words that you speak go out into the world, and it's important that you convey yourself and that you speak positively and in a way that's like fruitful to you. So how people will always remember what you said to them and how you made them feel, and it's very important that you find power in your words, and that how you speak and what you say comes out in the way that will come back to you, or as a representation. And I was like, that's so crazy, because one thing I will say is that I feel like for me is like, one of the things that was in my journal is like, I want to share with my words with the masses. Sometimes I feel like what I have to say can reach a lot of people. And like, this podcast has been a great way for me to like start doing that, to find out what that journey is going to be, because all we're doing is putting words out, right? We're putting these messages out to the world. So I'm like, damn, okay, that's a good reminder that like, I have to be very careful of what I say and how I say it, because it's going out there, and I want it to be indicative of who I am and what I want and what I'm in alignment with, because I do believe there's big power in words and what you put out there.
Yes, ma'am. And there's power in the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
I work in communications, public relations, and words do matter. Like, the words hold meaning. They carry meaning. They bring like energy. So yeah, words absolutely matter. It's one of the things I feel strongly about. It's like in certain you know what I mean? Like, making sure you're using the right word, or like, I don't know.
They can do what you want them to do.
Yeah.
They really do. Like, I remember when I said I wanted to work, I was walking my dog one day. I was fed up at CPS, and I literally said out loud, I was like, I want to work in a school. And within 6 months, I was working at a school. And some of it for me, especially like coming onto this platform, or like really what I see always felt like it couldn't happen. Like, I just always feel like I've been meant to be like this like personality. Like I'm supposed to
My
be
girl's about
out
to be on the
there.
show, some housewife.
Yes,
but it's gonna
like I just feel like it's just something, and I was like never wanted to say it out loud because I was like that just feels like, first of all, it feels self-absorbed maybe, or like conceited a little bit, and I was like I didn't really want to say it out loud. But now when people ask me, I'm like I want to be famous. I want to be out there. I want the people to know me. Like I'm just gonna say it because I'm just like that's really how I feel. I'm downplaying myself by like being like okay, and like social work, I've always felt a little bit like out of place a little bit. I've always felt like I'm a little like different than this, but I think it's been a great platform for me to reach people and to impact people in a different way.
For sure.
And maybe this is the stepping stone to like really what it's supposed to be, because I've gotten this groundwork out. I've worked with so many different people. My words, at one point I was walking in people's houses, they never even saw me, and I'm like, I have a report that says you're abusing your kids, you got to let me in so we can talk about it. You know what I mean? So I have been I don't want to say manipulate, that's not the right word, but I've been using my words as a way to reach people for quite a long time. So now I just feel like hopefully I'm on like this not descent, because that's going down. What's going up? Ascent, right? Ascent? That's up?
Yeah.
Like the ascent up to like reaching more and more people, God willing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think
Put it out to the universe.
for sure. And it's not
Okay?
I think
Telling
it's also the space of, also changing the narrative of some of these reality TV shows and the people on it, right? So like I think just in general, I'll be like, we need the cocktails with
I'm gonna be the one in the middle between all the housewives playing like, guys, let's meditate. Let's not. Don't use those words. It's not good for the universe. You don't want that coming back to you. But yeah, like some of them was like I could never probably like The Bachelor and Bachelorette. That's out of the question. But yeah,
I could be the Bachelorette personally.
Well,
I couldn't be on The Bachelor being one of these.
Yeah.
Like if 20 men want to date me at the same time and dote on me, I love that for me personally. But
go on dates with all of them and then cut the ones that you don't like.
yeah, that sounds lovely.
Sometimes
for me.
I used to feel like my life was the real life Bachelorette. I really used to feel, I'd be like, who's getting a rose this week? I don't know. Like, who's gonna make it? I don't know. But we've moved on from that because honestly, it just got so ridiculous.
Yes.
But I did feel like at one point my life was the real Bachelorette.
And I tell LB all the time, I'm like, you need to write a book on some of these things.
I know.
There you go.
It's a good juicy tale.
My aunt used to tell me, she told me that at a young age, because she's just like, your life is just, I'm like, it's not real. It's actually not real. The things that happen to me, like,
Yeah. God's plan.
really, that's really all it is,
God's
like I
plan.
said. And it's just been so affirming lately. Like I was telling Jess last night, I'm like, I have no idea how I'm making all of this shit happen right now. None. I'm not actually doing it.
Yeah.
God's actually doing it, because how I'm able to, no idea.
Yeah. Amen.
But it's just part of the plan, and God's asking me to trust him right now, and he's making it happen. So I'm just like,
We're here.
go on, pilot. I'm in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eating
Fly
my
this
Terra
plane.
Blue chips
Yup.
and taking a drink, and I'm just letting you fly the plane, because honestly, no
Fly
idea
it.
how all this is happening
That's
for me
real.
right now. No clue.
I love it. Should we pull a card on that?
Yeah, it's
now?
cool. Pull a card to close.
Go
Why
ahead,
not?
Sam. Close it out. Oh, boy.
Careful.
I initially, for the first shuffle, I was pulling all the cards that we had done.
Really?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Let's see. I think we've done this one. Who's helped me love myself more?
Therapist.
Oh, I changed it after. I said me, right? Didn't I say me? At some
don't even
during the pod, I said my therapist, but afterwards I was like, "Fuck that! I did the work." Like, shout out
This
to my
is all
therapist.
me, baby.
Okay, I think this one is good. A good way to end. I don't know if we've done this one before, but even still, I think it's still
Ooh.
applicable. What are 3 things I'm most grateful for in this present moment?
Oh.
Right? I think that's
4.
a good way to end. 3.
Oh, 3. I was like, sheesh. 4 is
3
a
things
lot.
you're grateful for in this present moment.
I would say my discernment.
Ooh, good.
The courage, like I said, to just keep going. I've had a lot of self-doubt lately, so I've really just been trying to keep moving forward. And I'm also grateful. Could it be anything?
I think so. In this present moment, it could be anything.
I'm also just happy to be home this weekend. Like, I always love coming back. This is always a good, like, reset for me. Like, last night, saw a lot of people. Like, this whole weekend is just going to be full of, like, a lot of, like, love, like, genuineness. And I think that really, it's good for me before I go back and started to get into the school year. And, you know, with us taking a break, I won't be here as often. So, yeah.
Love that. Jessica?
I'm really grateful for the people in my life, my family, my friends. I have just been feeling so blessed in that area. So definitely that. I'm grateful for God putting the spirit in me to seek him more and desire him more and be more involved in wanting to have that relationship with him. And I'm grateful for, like, Pod, the Legacy House, the fact that we have the ability to do this together and to show up once a month and to sit for a while and to talk and to have the words and the finances behind it.
It's like, it's kind of become like a little safe space. It's like over the last few months, it's just like, I'm like, oh, we're like home. We're Legacy.
You know, it comes with some stressors, but I'm grateful that we're able to keep on and seeing it through, even it, like, so, yeah. What about you, Sam?
Gosh, I was going to keep it super simple. I feel like I'm always grateful for the same things: my health, my wealth, and my happiness.
Period.
Like,
That's it.
That's it.
But I'm grateful for y'all. I'm grateful for my family. Like, I'm grateful for my faith, God. But, like, I mean, health, wealth, and happiness, man. Like,
no, really,
Amen.
peace of mind. And, like, when I was driving here, I was just like, I was really happy. I was like, life's good. Like, we are so blessed. And, like Jess said, like, we're just so lucky to be able to do this. Like I said, I really don't know how it's happening. It's truly God. But the fact that I was able, and, like,
that's really cool when you think about it. Like,
absolutely.
We've got 20 episodes. Like, Heal Hot Girl wasn't a thing until we came together.
And we wouldn't have been able to do it without each other.
It's true.
Like, we wouldn't have been able to do it without each other.
20 hours.
That's almost a full day of us if you just put it on loop. You could go all night.
That's true. Listen to the Hot Girls all day.
Literally. I'm excited. I'm so grateful. This is so dope. Something that, like, just something that, like, we put on paper and turned into real, you know? Something you put on paper. The journal entry from last summer, it was literally last July. Because sometimes I like to go back monthly and be like, where was I at this year? Because I don't always journal I usually try to get in like once a month, but that doesn't always happen. But in July of last year, I was writing about us talking about the pod and, like, we would have our little, like, Sam would send us our Zoom calendar meetings and we would have set up to talk about the pod and what we wanted to do. And, like, I was just like writing about it, and I was like, damn, was this year? And I was like, nah, this was last year. Crazy. Same time. And hard to believe that a year later, like,
here it is,
we're doing it.
So it's been fruitful.
So shout out to us.
Yes. And
put in the work.
The community that keeps on growing.
Oh, we're so grateful. I'm actually most grateful for y'all because, honestly, first of all, we talking to our damn selves, number one, for you. And number two,
which honestly I enjoy.
I'm fine with it too.
Great, but, like, it's better to have people.
Absolutely,
and community.
It's been such a joy to have people. Like, I was out last night, and people. My friend Kurt, he comes up to me. He's like, I listened to the latest one. He was like, fuck those dudes. Like, you're dope. But, like, it's like the feedback has been so positive. And it's like, I, like, couldn't ask for anything more. And, like, so I'm just so grateful for those of us that are, like, rocking with us for real, because it's like, you don't have to, and you do. So, like, thank you.
Are you going to end on another lyric? Could have been anywhere in the world.
Oh, my God, that's so good.
But you're here with me.
Go ahead, Sam. Take it home.
We appreciate that.
It's true, though. You could listen to any podcast. You could watch any podcast. You could spend your hour doing something completely different, but you don't. And for that,
thank you.
Yeah, we are grateful. So, see you next week for the second to last episode.
Penultimate. It's one of my favorite words. I don't get to use it very often.
I've never heard that.
Penultimate. It's like second to last.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just taught me something.
You're welcome.
And probably all the people, because what was that, Jesse?
We got another.
All right, y'all. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe,
and download.
Thank you.
Bye.